Yo, what's good, gang? Appreciate y'all being here with me again for another video. Um, y'all know why I'm here. Get my little brother off his ass to drop his content. He's saying he locking in. He's seeing the videos I'm posting. He's seeing what I'm doing. He's seeing y'all comment. He's seeing y'all like the videos. So I think I done went up maybe 2-3 subscribers. That shit means a lot to me. So I appreciate y'all so much. Continue commenting, and subscribing. Head on over to Dev DTB. Let him know, drop in a comment. Hey, bro, your brother is not fucking around, man. He consistent with this shit so far. You need to catch up, bro, because he got to match me a video. So I think I'm at almost 20, so he got to catch up for sure. Today we're going to be responding to or reacting to Sadia Khan on Sadia Psychology. I'm assuming she's a psychologist. I'm kind of skeptical of psychologists, especially those who learn in the West. I think she's Middle Eastern though. I don't know if she learned in the West and then went to Dubai or where she is now. I think she's from Dubai, if I'm not mistaken. But either way, I think in any psychologist learning, any psychologist, it doesn't matter where they learned. I'm pretty skeptical about it because it's still left-leaning. They're just a little bit more logical. It's almost like first wave feminism. Like they still understand both sides. But at the end of the day, it continues to lean towards men need to fix something. Men are responsible and accountable for where shit has landed. And to a degree, I'm for that message because I think niggas do need to just step it up and take more control. But I think men are saying, well, we want that control, but on one end, you told us the more traditional man and certain things that came with the control weren't healthy and positive and good. And you told us to change that. And then as we change that, now the more modern man isn't healthy, safe, and the leader that you want. So then you have to pair that with the fact that I don't think most women actually know what they want. I don't think the other side knows what they want. And I don't think they care to do anything about getting it. It's more so like a, hey, take me as I am, prove to me why I should follow you, and then, I'll do it. It seems to be more of that out here than anything else. And thankfully, I've dated many partners who never gave me that energy. But it took me just being very cognizant and aware, self-aware, and just aware of my partner choices and who I choose. Now, I've definitely had partners who were this way, but it never went further than a certain point. And now women are understanding, and I think seeing that men who understand their value and what they bring, they're only going to take shit to a certain point. So I'm hoping she's, pretty fair in her assessment of both sides, but let's see. Y'all like, comment, subscribe. I don't know if I said it before, but I'm going to say it again, man. Like, comment, subscribe. Appreciate y'all. Let's get into it.
Amongst men then, for female partners?
What's happening is men think that they're in control more than they actually are. Men think they're the picks because, especially with the podcast scene, they'll tell you, oh, women, she ages out at 30, or this woman, Myron, dumbass. But they'll say women age out at 30, women, your timeline is so short. They don't realize that for women, especially in this day and age, the timeline is endless. When a woman turns 20, she's got every guy from 18 to 30 following her and messaging her. But when she turns 30, she's just got the same amount of men just pushed forward. It's 30 to 40. When she turns 40, there are still men 40 to 60 seeing her as a young chick. If she's attractive, her queue is endless. And what men think is, oh, but she's 35, she's over. Oh, but she's been with guys.
Yeah, she definitely leaned into the. I was hoping she wouldn't, but she definitely leaned into the into the kind of liberal, modern way of thinking for women. I do not agree, kinda at all. Now the queue is endless for women, beautiful women, when it comes to dating. That I will say. When it comes to marriage, no. Men, if not more than ever, understand that they control marriage. They control the pace of a relationship. They control the access given and the amount of access given to the relationship. So yeah, I would say that's a shit ton to have and to bring to a dynamic. Now who you allow to bring, who you follow, and who you allow to bring that into your life as a woman, that's where discernment comes in. Because some men will use that to simply get what they need out of you and then be done. It's your job to date with, well, I hear a lot of dating with intention, but that just simply means I'm trying to recover and I want you to be responsible for the recovery. When I hear when I say or hear dating with intentions in a healthy manner, it means I have limited time to waste, and I know where my end goal is and where the finish line is, and I know, for the most part, foundationally what I need from a partner that's going in the same direction as me to make that happen. And I know how to get me to the finish line, and I know how to help the dynamic get to the finish line or get to a healthy point of continuing to where it is I want to go. And I'm willing to do the work to and put in the work to making sure that we're both headed that way and we don't deviate. So yeah, men have a lot of control, and they are the ones who are choosing, definitely, when it comes to what most women want. I don't know if that's a ring finger on her hand. I don't know if she's married, but that's all. That's also interesting. So, but you don't have to be married to give solid advice and sound advice. Considering that she's coming from a psychology background, hopefully she has some footing in that area. But again, from what I've seen and heard and researched, even that can be very off-putting to men and an easy way to duck accountability for women. Even if they do acknowledge their own shortcomings and can see it in other people. Because it's just based off this statement she started with, that's already not true. Women above a certain age, when you're looking at things like cryobanks and medication needed in that age, the amount of women who are 1 out of 4 on medication, and I think it goes up the higher you get in age. That could be due to a lot of different factors, whether it be abuse or anything else, grape, or past relationships, or just not, or being neurodivergent. That could be a reason too. But yeah, yeah, there's a lot of factors that point to women being single. Actually, by 2040, a good percentage of women will be single. And of course, capitalistic markets are banking on that, and they want that to happen. So yeah, in order for them to control that, men have control over that, if women will be single or not.
It doesn't work like that anymore, because before it might have been like that because everybody in your town has coupled up. But now, especially if she's got an open Instagram profile, the offers are endless.
The offers are endless, not the marriages, not the companionship, the offers, the playtime. That's endless for sure.
I want to ask you about OnlyFans.
Mm-hmm.
So, from just like meeting some people and stuff, like the funnel, if I will, of OnlyFans is literally wild. So like,
I don't know. Can you tell me about that?
I'll give you a full disclosure of it. Right? So
do
some people,
do most girls make money, or is it just a tiny percentage of women?
So it's like anything. It's it's skewed to the top. The people at the top make a shitload, 100K, 50K, 75K a month.
Wow.
And then some then make zero, some then make $200. So the average is like $500 a month. And the reason why that is because it's skewed towards people who make So there's like, let's say like 10 million users.
$500 a month extra is actually pretty solid. That's actually a good little, anybody can use $500 a month. So that's actually pretty fire. Is it worth it? I don't think so, but if you're built that way.
Only 100,000 make all the money.
Yeah.
Okay. But like people are trying
like
to get
with anything in life.
Like with anything, especially even like podcasting, right? But the funnel, if you will, if you're familiar with like sales funnels, right, is that they have Instagram, they're in Dubai, they're in Bali, they're in Ibiza, put up a photo. Then you go from there to Twitter.
Right.
And on Twitter, they're a bit more open. They're a bit more like less close on.
Yeah.
And they're sending them then to a free page on OnlyFans, which gets a guy to sign up. And they drive them to a paid page.
Oh, wow. So it's steps.
So it's steps. And then the paid page is only $7.99 a month, but the real money is in the DMs. Okay. So that's
that personalized experience. You can run up a bag with that shit.
We'll ask for a particular photo, and then it's $1,000, $2,000, $3,000. And we can get into the type of people who actually purchase them soon. But that availability of getting the top 1% like beautiful girl to just talk to me back has surely screwed and fucked up any sort of like relationship or thought process of how we should go about a relationship.
Both.
I wonder if he's Scottish. He sounds Scottish. But that is definitely, I agree. I think it's become a cesspool for a lot of younger men, a lot of men in general, but definitely younger men. And to a degree, I understand it, because younger men between the ages of like 18 to 25, they're just as fucking lonely as women who are in their 50s and 60s. I think I got to pull up the study, but you're going through, you're finishing shit. It's probably even before that, to be honest with you, because if you're not that type of social person, you're not that type to get women, you're not the type to have a lot of friends, you've been dealing with this shit since like middle school, bro. Probably middle school, high school. So it's even before 18 for real, but the studies are just start at 18. But you're going through pivotal moments in your life where being social is very important. High school, college, the beginning stages of your career can be like 24, 25. Bro, like for you to be just as for you to be just as lonely as a fucking 50, like a let's say even 45 to 60-year-old woman, that shit is wild, bro. And this is like peak. Your body isn't even functioning the same. By that time, you have menopause and all that shit going on for women, to where they want to sit inside, they want to chill, they want less fucking distractions, they want less noise, they want less friction. They don't want to deal with society as much as a fucking 18 to 25, 26-year-old male. That shit is way different, bro. That's dog. Like, I don't know what fucking word I just made up just now, but that shit is way different, dog. Like, I couldn't imagine. I could not fucking imagine, bro. And I'm a loner for real. So to some degree, I've lived that life, but I always knew enough people. I always hung out enough. I always intentionally went out enough to like make sure I didn't feel the I don't know, just the brute force of being a man in that age, and the loneliness that kind of comes with it. At some point you have to go through it, just to work on yourself, but that shit is hard. So I understand why men are, you know, I get it, but acceptance and tolerance are two different things. And being that weak, I don't think I would tolerate that. I can't tolerate that. I can accept the fact that we all will get to that point, but we all should not stay there. And it's a lot of men who are simply just staying there.
It affects both men and women equally. Here's the thing, there's so much talk about the OnlyFans girl and how emotionally broken she must be and this, that, and the other. But the reality is, at least she's getting a perk. She can literally change her legacy. She might have grown up in a council estate and now can pay off her parents' house, and she can start that. So, of course, emotional, there's damage, but she can be like, it was worth it, whatever. She can have some self-esteem attached to it. The man that's paying for it, there's nothing to gain from it. Nothing but loss of self-respect, because
that is definitely not true. This is why I don't trust people to just because you have a title, you feel that you could just say some shit. I was with her in the first half because it does affect men and women equally. I definitely agree. But this change of legacy or change of trajectory that she's talking about that women go through, I've seen. If you go to Colombia, bro, the family is okay with women being prostitutes or doing OnlyFans or in sex hotels. Like the family's like, bro, we are depending on you. So I get that and I understand that, but that should be highlighting the bigger issue societally and within the infrastructure of that said culture and within the infrastructure of that said place. Like Colombia is still a developing country. So sure, I could see that being necessary in certain places, but in a place like America or any kind of affluent place where you have the same opportunities as most people, I don't see that really being needed at all. When there are millions of women making it and doing even bigger shit without the platform. Now you could say that, hey, if there are men who are going to pay for it, why not? Sure, I guess it just depends on what your tolerance level is, because what men get out of it is there are people, me being in the BDSM community as long as I have, and studying it as long as I have, and enjoying it as long as I have, there are people who get things out of degradation. There are people who get things out of being the degrader. So there are women who may enjoy the thought of and just built this way. They really like the thought of making the power dynamics of making a man pay for, or seducing a man enough to pay for a subscription, or thinking he's dumb enough, or whatever she comes up with to degrade this man that is pleasing to her. And yes, it does come with the perk of changing her financial course. But to say that men don't get anything out of it other than loss of self-respect is just also to a degree just disrespectful. Because you didn't even take out the time to even study these men. Have you even asked these men any kind of questions as to, has anybody even asked men what they get out of the OnlyFans subscription? Because as someone who, again, has been in the community, being a degradee, they like the fact that the power dynamic is given to the woman. They enjoy that. The girlfriend experience is given to men who don't have time to go out and date, or who aren't social enough to go out and date, or who may be neurodivergent and don't understand social cues and the texture and context of sociability. So those men are on there too. And there are men who simply just won't do the work to go outside and actually meet people and be social and pick up women and challenge themselves to actually be better with women. Those exist on there too. So to say that you don't understand, I mean, if that's the fucking case, I guess maybe I'm making a false parallel here, but y'all let me know. Finding a surrogate, like, it doesn't, I mean, I'm not less of a man for finding a woman who I feel is suitable to carry my seed simply because I don't have the time, or I won't make the time, or I'm sick and I'm just done with dating and trying to find a partner, and I just want to skip steps and just get to a baby. And I mean, that's essentially what these men are doing. I don't want to fucking take you out. I don't care to take you out. I don't want to deal with the mixed emotions. I don't want to deal with love bombing. I don't want to deal with games. I don't want to deal with PMS and all this other shit. I don't want to meet your family. I don't want to do any of that. I don't want to deal with the competition of other men. The easiest way for me to skip that is to log in and put my credit card information and get what I need from there. So, yeah, for you to understand why women do OnlyFans but not understand why men pay for it is kind of ass backwards to me, and very skewed in view and thought. But she's a psychologist, so I'm kind of confused.
A man has to remember how he feels afterwards when he's finished paying and she's not messaging, and he's finished his subscription and she doesn't look at him again, or even when he's finished physically, finished doing whatever it is he does. There's no way he's proud of himself in that moment. Because
how can you say that if you haven't talked to men to know? Maybe the average man, sure, but again, the average man is perfectly fine with getting a nut off or two and being done. Like, the need for connectivity at the rate in which women need it isn't the same. Sometimes that post-nut clarity will help you the fuck out in choosing who you attach yourself to and who you build that attachment with. Because when men build it, shit, sometimes they're willing to crash out about it. Like, if you attach with the wrong fucking person. So, not understanding the psychology behind why this sex work is needed from both sides is just unfair. There have been many of times where people have clearly expressed that, hey, I'm in a sexless marriage, or things just aren't going my way at work or wherever. I just want a physical release. I've had women do it. I've had women use me for it. And I understand why men do it and why they use something like OnlyFans for that. So understanding the balance of objectification and degradation is important when we're having these conversations, because both of them to some degree are needed, especially objectification. And both of them have negative effects if not done properly.
men are actually wanting is intimacy. They think
That's true. That I will vouch for. But you get intimacy in different ways. I think authentic, deep intimacy is what most men need, and you really can't get that from these quick transactional relationships. I think you need to actually build something with somebody and go through the process of all the things I just listed before that you don't want to deal with because you find it worthwhile. No different if you go to the gym and you face struggle there. Your career, you face struggle there. Once you succeed, you find a lot of these things to be worthwhile, but it's more gratifying that way too when you finally accomplish a new level of a relationship and learning things about yourself that you otherwise would not know without a partner. So, yeah, I agree with her there. Intimacy is very important.
They want sexual kind of pleasure, but they're really craving emotional intimacy. And because in this day and age, they're not open about that, and they don't have wives, and they don't have close relationships with mums and sisters or whatever it is, they're craving emotional intimacy, masking it as sexual preference and sexual pleasure, and then still not understanding why they feel so low. So the depression is through the roof.
You want to hear the wildest thing?
Go ahead.
That
Wildest thing.
so
Don't know about the depression part. I'd have to look into the study because I want to say it's more prevalent in women than men. But I do know more men are twice as likely to actually commit the act of self-deletion. Women just think about it more.
these girls are not even managing their accounts.
Absolutely. If I was, you know what? If there was a psychology version of OnlyFans, I would definitely sign up.
100%.
But and I would never touch it. I would never touch it, and I'll just have somebody I'm paying in India to just reply to it and stuff like that. That's no offense when I say India. I'm from Pakistan.
That's
yeah, but
She's from Pakistan. He didn't say that caption was wrong. I think he was saying most of these women don't manage their accounts, but I think he's Scottish, so the caption picked up kids. That's not what he was saying. Hey, y'all probably want to re-script this.
A lot of the outsource, because they can outsource, right? They're either people from the Philippines, but you'll find this funny. Because it's dudes, a lot of the people that respond are gay guys.
Of course.
Because they know what tips off a guy. So like if I knew, which I obviously don't know, which I obviously know is like all the tendencies that a guy wants. If I'm a gay guy, I don't mind speaking to this other male and I just telling him exactly what I need to say. And then he's dishing out all the cash. He's making a percentage and it's going to the woman. So that's where it gets even funnier.
Hey, that's fire. I'm not even gonna lie. That's fire. Everybody wins in this situation. Well, I wonder, does that matter? Does it matter? I think it does matter, especially to a heterosexual male. So I guess men are really heterosexual men are losing in this situation because you're not even getting the seduction from the person that you would really want it from. And if you knew that if you just imagine the fact that you're typing a gay man from the Philippines or somewhere in a random country, you would unsubscribe, bro. And I don't understand why most men and especially most that are screaming that they're logical and rational would not assume that this is the case. There's no way she's talking to 200,000 of y'all. It's just not happening. So somebody got to be fucking talking to you. And most women are going to be repulsed by what they see. So it can't be just them. So yeah, Andrew Tate has said he's done the same thing because he knows what would get you to actually spend the money. Which also is a very interesting perspective, considering that I could see more of a gay man doing that. But whatever Andrew's into, he's into. Nothing wrong with that. So again, you still lose. Heterosexual men still lose. Straight men still lose in this situation. So it really isn't benefiting you outside of the fact that you should be using it for quick releases but you shouldn't be, you don't have to pay for that. Porn is free. But I guess you're, at this point, if you're paying for it from a specific person, because not all OnlyFans models are actual porn stars, so I get that, I understand that. You may want to see a specific entertainer or person, and it's no different than going and seeing the specific artist you want to see. You want to personalize that experience. So I understand that. I don't know about continuing it though. Like just dollar after dollar, you're just seeping into this black fucking hole. Um, yeah, yeah, I wouldn't recommend that because you're still losing in this case. As you just heard, you're not even 9 times out of 10, you're not even talking to her.
Complex is the fact that you have these top tier models, and then they're not even doing anything. It's just other guys that are running it.
Yeah, and here's the thing: what men need to wake up to, even when they're watching porn and stuff like that, a lot of them are looking for that part where the woman looks into the camera and gives them that eye contact. That's what they're actually craving. And even these men that have like sugar babies and stuff like that, they want loyalty and commitment out of this girl. So if it was just sexual pleasure, then they wouldn't get so upset when she doesn't reply or she doesn't. They're looking for.
I wonder how she know this. All of this is assumption. She's not talking to these men. So how is she getting? Where is this coming from? Where are these theories coming from? That men are actually angry because someone isn't replying.
That's what.
I will agree though that you are to some degree looking for the connectivity, but again, the brain is so vast and there are so many different types of people looking for different types of things, and they process it different types of ways. To simply just chalk it up to men are emotionally subdued right now and they're actually just too lazy to go out and get what it is that they need. Yeah, it's kind of a ass take, I'm not gonna lie.
Truly looking for every human, man, woman, child, dogs. We're looking for connection. When we mask it with sexual pleasure, it's because the system is skewed and designed to get money out of you. We
True.
mask, but the true need is connection. If the governments or if the companies tell you the cure to your depression is connection, the cure to your loneliness is connection, that's free. How do I market that? You just go connect with your family and friends. That's totally free. But if they tell you, oh, actually it's sexual pleasure, let me show you pornography pictures. Or if I tell you, oh, it's actually you need an SSRI, let me show you this, that, and the other, you will always be a slave to consumerism. Mm-hmm. So take yourself out of it.
100%. You have to remove yourself from that.
Take yourself out of that rat race. They don't care about you.
So the three typical guys that would be on OnlyFans, and I've been told this from guys.
I'm so fascinated by this because
I know guys that run agencies that manage models. Right. So that's why I know this.
Okay.
And they're on my podcast. Like guys don't know.
Amazing.
So the three genres of guys will be the guy that's quite introverted, not that like socially like
video game kind of guy.
Yeah, but also like he's a software engineer for Google and he makes.
See how she just went straight to like the lowest tier that she could think of, or what she perceives as the lowest tier. Because now the video gamer guy is making the hundreds of thousands. But the fact that in their brain they just assume, and I think a lot of people just assume, not just women, that the men who are paying for these things have to be socially inept, awkward, weird, just like won't come out of the basement type of guys. And that's clearly not the case. And even if it was, why are they that way? Why are we not speaking to that? Why is nobody saying anything about the fact that there's a structure in place that does not encourage men to actually be men? Like that, it's very clear that there are a lot of things going against the productivity of men and the traditional man to a sense. And she's a whole psychologist, and she started with the shaming of men who on the receiving end of something that women control or somewhat control. But it was a brighter outcome for women to her than it was men, and the reasoning was brighter to her. than it is for the reasoning for men. So why would they want to come out? And if more people are thinking this way, why the fuck would I even need to come out and change anything? Because y'all are already assuming that I'm just this fucked up human being anyway who needs coddling into making the right emotional decisions.
100K a year.
Oh wow.
Right? So it's
That
that
guy,
kind of
successful.
like, yeah, it's successful.
She was
Successful nerd.
shocked.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So therefore, he doesn't go out or whatever, and he'll
Makes
speak
sense.
to a girl that he finds really attractive, and he may pay 2K a month, right?
Okay.
So that's one bracket, which, okay, whatever.
So that's probably a good niche to target. Yeah.
Exactly. And this is not my
But from a
feedback.
business perspective,
Yeah,
my
but-
brain is like,
exactly.
ooh.
But from what I've heard is
Yeah.
that the guys are like pretty happy with it, whatever, right?
Yeah.
Then the other bracket is really, really rich old guys. So
Right.
mega rich guys that own fucking ship companies. And
Mm.
then they're paying someone who's 21 and that's it. The worst category and the last category is someone who's in a marriage. So a husband
Right.
who is paying someone that's doing this on the sly with a second phone. Why do you think people are doing, why do you think that category is doing it?
He's neglected from his wife.
You think so?
Yeah, there's an element of neglect. And this is something that women get really offended when I tell them this. But the reality is men are babies. Yeah, and they really are babies. Now, when the wife, and this is
She does so well. And then she just fucking then she just flips shit on his head. Like, what are you talking about? Because I'm being neglected from my wife, that makes me a baby? I'm gonna let her explain, but I can kind of already see where the fuck this is going. Yeah, I see where this is
this is
going.
not her fault. But when you have kids with women, when they naturally
Remember, it's not her fault.
have kids and all of these things, they are designed to just focus on the children. It's how we're designed biologically. We have the hormones, we have the obsession, we get so much oxytocin from just kissing that child. What happens then is she doesn't even see her husband anymore. So he comes into his home and almost feels like a stranger in his own home because it's like mum and baby, they're so connected. Baby's always a bit like connected to mum. She can't switch off. He'll go for dinner with his wife and she's thinking about the baby. Slowly, that husband feels more and more neglected. And what happens then is, because it's so weird to say to your wife, why are you always with the baby? Can you give me a kiss instead? It's such a weird conversation to have. So what they end up doing is seeking that attention elsewhere. Now, it's not all men. Some men dive into the parenthood with their wife. They hold their wife's hand and go straight into the children. But other men, especially if they didn't receive a lot of love growing up, they need that personalized attention. So when they're not getting it from their partner, instead of communicating it, they go source it somewhere else.
Okay, yeah, that was a good bit to unpack there. Some of it I agree with. Definitely men who are a little bit more neglected for a while seek that attachment and enjoy that attachment and intimacy, like she just previously stated. So he successfully got that intimacy, and now it is being phased out or faded out to him due to her new attachment with this offspring. The one type of man that she neglected to even bring up was the type that doesn't dive deeper into the home, holding hands per se, but structurally he is 100% committed to making sure that this home never sees any type of friction or great struggle. And I think more men probably lean towards that, if anything. It's not simply just one that's neglectful and will allow his sexual urges to take over him so much so that he now has to go and find somewhere else to please him. And it's also not just men jumping straight into their home and becoming second mothers per se. Like that's not the only spectrum. You have some men, I guess, who fall in the middle where they're not focused on the outside world, but they're focused on their home from a position of leadership and making sure that this home continues to stay stable outside of whatever he can control on the inside. Now, when you have a child and you have a baby, you tend to allow that give that control up to, the mother, because she's the one who's going to be creating the space that she feels is safest for the child. Now, for you to not have the conversation with a partner about this is also not good. For you to not be able to sit down with your partner, and to some degree, you simply will not deliberately neglect these things, but chemically, what's happening inside of you is just not even some of that shit you just can't even control. But as a man, this is where you come in and you make sure to have the therapy. You take the preventive measures. You don't try to fix it when it's already broken. You take the preventive measure of making sure that you do have a support system around her outside of yourself. You are going to counseling and therapy and making sure that you're continuously going back and forth to the doctors and making sure internally you both are okay, and having a third party there to speak to you and kind of referee the things that aren't okay will make shit so much easier. And I'm speaking from experience. Like it'll make your shit so much easier, bro. I'm telling you. So the fact that she kind of just summed this up between two type of men and then still taking the accountability away from women, I already seen where this was going. This does not make you a baby. For you to want to continued affection and intimacy and love from a partner that you've decided to go on a lifelong journey with, or at least up to 21 or 22 years with a baby, that is not your actual emotions are valid in that way. Now, how you handle this, that's where shit can get kind of interesting, because you have some relationship styles where, they're okay with, hey, I can't provide this right now. Or even when you get to a certain age, men and women just function differently. Whether they're introducing new spice and flame into the relationship via a third party or third person, or just allowing the relationship to continue while he does his thing every so often. This is also not foreign in certain countries. This is not new, especially in like Japan, Africa, even Europe. In Japan, it's like, hey, I'd rather him go and find a prostitute. I'd rather him get on OnlyFans versus building a connection with another person. So, yeah, I don't know. This one side shaming is and dodging accountability for both parties is very interesting.
Very interesting. It's weird to see him go that far and that extreme.
Yeah, well, it depends what kind of husband you have. Some men really do just, like, my dad was like this. He was very involved in the kids. So he would not care that my mum's not really paid him much attention and stuff.
I don't believe that at all. No, nothing is stopping you from understanding that you have sexual urges that are that need to be fulfilled. He cared. Him allowing that to create friction within his household, probably not so much. You just don't care that much. But no, that isn't. And if you do care, well, let me backtrack. I can't speak for what her father cared for. If you do care, and it is creating, and you care enough to where it's creating friction within your household, you should, again, be the preventive measures. You should not wait until your urge has taken you over so much that you now want to sneak around and potentially fuck up your household. It's just not a good look, especially with a new baby. It's not a good look.
But other men, and I have uncles like this, where they really seek attention from their wife, and they get like, play with me, be with me kind of vibe. And everybody's different, but it does depend on their level of self-esteem and their pre-existing.
That is so strange that and now she's gone into traumas, and that's very interesting. Because just before she was saying that you crave intimacy and that you need intimacy. And now it seems like she's shaming the fact that you display intimacy in a specific way. Yeah, it seems it's not a mommy, I need you to come attend to my needs type of thing. It's a very, yeah, I don't.
Promise.
You mentioned porn. How much does that fry?
Yeah, before we get to that, let me think about that, because that's interesting. Because maybe there is something to it as far as the dynamic of your past and how you've seen attachment styles based off of your parents, because that essentially builds your attachment styles. But that can be changed. And I've never seen an attachment style in the BDSM community. Definitely, there are men who are very extreme when it comes to DNS and parent is called parent play, but there are people who are very extreme in that. But she's almost describing it that way, and it's not that way at all for typical men. It doesn't feel that way at all. We don't even perceive it that way. It's simply nourishing me emotionally and physically so that I can continue doing what it is that biologically I need to do as a man. I want to procreate. And I want to do that by way of intimacy and affection and physically letting that out. That's not child's play. That's not something that kids do or babies do. So to frame it that way, the way she's framing things are when it comes to men specifically, not when it comes to women, when it comes to men specifically, it's framed from this higher position. And this is why I'm skeptical about psychologists. And this is also why I choose men psychologists and women psychologists. Like I would try both. I would not, anyone who's framing anything similar to this, when you talk to them about it, I would not recommend, as a man, you continue those sessions, because this is almost degrading in a way.
Men's like brains and dopamine.
I've been speaking about this a little bit recently, but my end goal from whatever it is that I've created on social media is to really, really undo some of the prevalence of porn, because there's no one factor that destroys a man's manhood more than pornography. This is why it does it. Yeah, the first thing it does is, of course, it creates unrealistic expectations, which we all know. But the problem with that is it's causing early impotence. By the time a man is 27 now, he has seen more pornographic images than the average 90-year-old man. He's seen more nudity. So what happened? And
I could definitely see that. I would say that's true.
Extreme versions of nudity. So what happens is it starts mild, and then, but if you're starting at 10, how much mild porn can you watch? That's the average age of when they start. Yeah, astaghfirullah, God forbid. Yeah, that's the average age. Now, if you're starting at 10 watching pornography, how much casual pornography can you watch? By the time you get to 15, it turns into something else. And by the time you get to 20, it turns into something else. By the time you get to 30, it turns into criminal behavior.
But nobody has the same energy for women, which is very strange to me. Like, nobody's talking about the fact that it escalates the same exact way. it escalates the same exact way. But somehow it's men. It's a porn addiction and pornography has become a men's problem, not a societal problem, which is crazy to me.
Yeah, it turns into. So what happens is the average woman can no longer stimulate you, and you find yourself having erectile dysfunction. But the bigger issue,
We're also not talking about the opposite side where toys play the same factor, but yet that is encouraged to have.
I feel like it causes men, is they no longer feel like they need to work on the skills and the attributes it takes to attract a woman. Before, to have sex with a woman or to see her naked, a man would have to be like, right, I have to have money, I have to be successful, I have to be kind, I have to be caring, I have to be masculine, I have to be all of these amazing things that makes him a man. And then he'd clear up. So like the Elvis Presley's days, a man would have to be all of those things to get a woman. Now it's like, I'm really craving a woman, I'm overweight, I haven't got a job, I'm playing video games all day, but I'm horny. Let me just watch porn.
Okay, so if we remember the three categories of most men based off of his data set that he got from the men he know personally that run these accounts in studios that manage these women, you think that those are the type of men who are running corporations or big ass companies or working $100,000 to $200,000 jobs? I don't think just the lazy fat slob is the maybe the majority, maybe, but when it comes to porn, now OnlyFans maybe it's a little different, but when it comes to free porn, I still don't see that just being those types of men, and I'm sure she may not be thinking that either, but again, framework, man, the way she's framing it, which I'm hey, degrading, but if you don't like degradation, take what she said, get your ass up and go fucking work on yourself. At least get to the level where you can drop 2,000 on OnlyFans, because by the time you do that, you've probably already been working on yourself enough. And then hopefully you get to a point to where you don't fucking need OnlyFans, because by that time you've already met somebody who's on the same track as you and who would be a good fit for a partner. So, there are steps.
Whereas before it would be like, get yourself up, come on, go talk to women. So they're losing the drive of what makes them masculine. So they become more and more emasculated.
And it has nothing to do with the fact that the women you meet outside can also be emasculating. Nobody's going to bring up that part. And I'm so happy I don't have to I've never really fucking dealt with this at all. So I really do feel for y'all. I'm empathetic, but I'm not sympathetic to, again, tolerating just weak ass shit. Because to me, it's still weakness. The fact that you can't get up and go talk to people. And I love being a loner, bro. But I put myself in position to force myself to be uncomfortable, whether it be through travel, whether it be through getting my ass out and trying a new hobby, working out, speaking to people I don't know, building new relationships. Like, you just have to, bro. Whether you're doing it in your career or whether you're doing it fucking socially, there is no excuse. You have to.
They become a weaker version of themselves every time they watch it because they can satisfy themselves without working on themselves.
It's a lot of cheap dopamine. It's being
very cheap.
But same thing goes for social media, which, yeah.
But also very, very dangerous dopamine.
Of course, but I think so I've given up alcohol for the last 10.5 months.
Oh, I've never tried alcohol in my life.
No way.
No.
Well,
just an angel.
But yeah. You've
I think she actually does perceive herself that way.
never known the other side of it.
No.
But I always said
I'm so impressed by people who give it up though. Even though I've never tried it, the people that give it up are the ones that have to face so much peer pressure and they have to really go against the grain. Whereas for me, nobody pressures me because they know I'm never going to try it.
But see, the thing for me,
this is the dangerous part of this psychologist paradigm, is that because they can assess themselves very well, and I used to love psychology so much, and I've taken it, courses in it, advanced courses in it even, and it helped me get my shit together, get my life together. But at a certain point, I've also done this too, where you find yourself being able to assess situations in yourself, so much so that you just assume that your perspective your perspective is being given from a very high up positioning in your brain. You just assume that people don't have the ability to know themselves the same as you know yourself and other people. So you start to wrap context, a very specific structure and context around, the viewpoints of other people, which it can become an egotistical thing to do, and you won't notice it because you figure that you would be able to spot your ego and when you're using it in an inappropriate way, because you're just so good at understanding yourself and other people that it couldn't be possible for you to do this. And I've seen it happen because I've also dated psychologists and counselors as well. So it's very interesting.
So the reason why it was a little bit easier for me is because I'm literally in the middle of Asia on my own. It's me, my girlfriend, my dog. And a lot of my network are a lot older. So for my podcast, like a lot of my friends could be like 40, 50, even I'm 27. So it's fine. And we go for dinner and they'd be like, oh, do you want like this like $4,000 like glass of wine? I'm like, I'm okay. So it's fine. But of course I've come from like Irish culture. I'm no angel, like as in I've been to like every event in Ibiza you can name of, right?
Stop.
But over the course of like 6 years, from like say 19 to 24 to 25, I had my party days, and now I'm kind of in the building phase of what I would say, and like fixing all that kind of shit.
Yeah.
But those cheap dopamines are so easier to lean into. So drink, obviously there's like sex, drugs, all that kind of stuff involved as well. How would you recommend someone to kind of clear their mind from all that?
And I will say that just like he said, he went through that phase, and I don't think there's anything inherently wrong with going through that phase for a period of time of exposing yourself to certain things. Now, again, it just depends on what you tolerate, and what your tolerance level is. But you should know yourself. Hopefully your parents have helped you enough and guided you enough to know yourself that you stay weary with things until it's time to explore them. Like the exposure to sex and nudity and certain types of pornography should not be given to someone around the age of 9, 10 years old. So, and I don't think you should be partying and dealing with alcohol and drugs at 17, 16 years old, like certain types of drugs specifically, but really drugs in general, just because you don't even know how to handle them unless you're in a culture where it's structured and it's prevalent in that culture. So yeah, I don't know what age you would smoke weed as a Jamaican or as an African. In Africa, actually, weed is kind of decriminalized in certain areas. Or or just in Amsterdam. Like, I don't know when do they start smoking weed, when do they start experimenting, but because they have the infrastructure, the structure for it, you have more people to talk to learn about it. And alcohol, I mean, it's become such a base level thing to do that nobody even has discussions about it for real until shit goes wrong. So, you just have to have the structure for that. A lot of other countries, they have drug testing tents and facilities where, you won't even go to jail for taking your shit in and being like, hey, I want to experience this, but I want to make sure I'm safe. And it's perfectly fine. Versus here in the West or in the States where you're not taking no, I don't know if these exist yet. Hopefully they do, but you're not taking MDMA or fentanyl or weed and being like, hey, can you test this shit for me before I take it? I ain't never seen that here. So somebody correct me if I'm wrong in the comments. But there's also a holistic and medicinal use for drugs too. But again, it just comes with time and what phase you're in your life to know how to handle these things. So it's not wrong for you to be a certain age and have to explore yourself with the help of or the use of pornography. You just should not be staying there.
Here's what alcohol does. It's pseudo confidence. And what, again, here's the goal of a man should be to have a natural element in him that enables him to be masculine. Now, when you take alcohol, what it does is, I mean, I've never tried alcohol, but what I have noticed about myself comparatively to my friends who drink is that I'm not waiting for something to kick in before I start being me. I'm not waiting for a drug to sink into my body for me to be authentic. I'm not waiting for it to sink in for me to start dancing. I'll walk into an environment, if there's music on, I'm like ready to roll and my friends are like, let me just let this sink in. I'm like, what song is sinking? Like, let me just, and I'm like, it's so foreign to me. I'm just like, what are we waiting for? This song is good. But it's like, what happens then when you do that is you numb your authenticity. You numb your ability to be confident without it. You numb your ability to say what you want to say without it. You numb your ability to talk to women without it. So you're numbing your authenticity. You're suppressing who you truly are and waiting for the alcohol to unleash it. But true confidence and true self-esteem and true needs are met when you can be whoever you truly are in the absence of any kind of external doses. So,
to some degree, yes. With her on that, but I think what's missing from her language, what it feels like is missing, is growth. Like there are just certain times where, and the use of alcohol and the use of drugs vary differently. Again, you can be neurodivergent, and the use of alcohol and weed react to you a different way, or the use of MDMA or ecstasy or coke, it just reacts to you. Probably shouldn't be listing these in a fucking YouTube video, but it reacts to you. It reacts to your body a different way. You can learn yourself through these tidbits of and flashes of confidence. You could notice that you're a little bit more confident when you have taken something, and you can go back and take that information with you and work on that. So it just depends on how you learn. I wouldn't, again, the positioning in which she's answering these questions seem very just up here. And it's not ground level. Yeah, I think ground level information works a little bit best. So
when they can finally be themselves, you can only do that when you don't rely on alcohol. And
you can, that's not true either. You're just a different version of yourself. This doesn't mean I'm not as confident when I'm not drinking. Doesn't mean that I'm not as social, or I don't want to dance when I'm drinking. I just know I enjoy that piece of myself too. I enjoy how that feels and that experience when I've felt the effect of alcohol, or it enhances that experience. I love music every single fucking day, but when I drink, when I drink and I dance and I love that, I'm just like her. Naturally, I can go into any spot and dance, drink or not, don't matter what's going on, because I love music and I love the action of dancing. I love dancing with women and dancing with people. So, but with alcohol, it just enhances that experience. I like that experience too, and I like my version of myself. I know my tolerance level and I know my cap, but I enjoy that part of myself too. So I don't think it's reducing or subduing any part of me. If anything, I just learn more about myself and learn more about people when they're in that state as well.
And you know what you truly feel and what you truly like as well. Because what happens is I'll sometimes be with friends and we're in the shittest place, but because they're drinking, they're like, yeah, it's fine, it's fun. I'm like, no, it's not. This place is a dive. Why are we here?
To you, it is a dive. If you're open-minded enough, which alcohol can tend to help with, may actually be fun.
Pretending it's fun because they've got the extra kind of added dose. But when you remove that, you can actually experience life authentically. And only when you experience life authentically is a life worth living.
I wonder how she's using that word. Yeah.
And I think a lot of it is down to insecurities. And like I say this with no sense of superiority.
Yeah.
Like,
I'm sure if I could drink, I mean, it's religious reasons, but I'm sure I would be the worst if I could drink.
But like from what was like kind of so
to assume that you would you would spiral into being the worst person on the fucking planet and the worst version of yourself simply because you're drinking. Yeah, also says something about her too. That's very interesting.
I guess, and not like
as if your control is just gonna suddenly vanish because you're drinking.
People just in general is that like when I was younger, probably because I was a bit more I was more influenced by people, you know.
Yeah.
So I'd always have like a gin and tonic in my hand, and I'd always have a cigarette.
Oh.
So if we're out at an event, I'd always have both hands are occupied.
Right.
And then when you remove that, you're like,
what do I do with these?
What do I do with my hands? Is it like what do I do with my hands?
Yeah.
So then like as a like kind of like stepped away from it, I've become actually way more confident and like
yeah, you realize you can dance. You can enjoy music.
But I also have my own interests and my own like values. So now I'm like, oh, I don't really need to. So like for instance, like when I met a couple people here, they all don't drink as well, which is really interesting because like Dubai, like there's lots of people that are pushing really hard, and they're like, yeah, let's just go chill out.
But you know why that is? Because Dubai's culture is it's very expensive to drink unless you're doing brunches, which makes it very cheap to overdrink. So it's unlimited drinks or very expensive. So people have done brunches and realize how unbearable alcohol, your body's rejecting it. So they get so sick of the brunches that they think my body can't take this anymore. And then they go through the cleanse period. Yeah, because your body rejects it.
I think everyone should just do like 30 days and then you see a comparison because you literally, it's like an A/B test. You see what I was and what I am. And I'm not saying forever. I just think that even for me, I like the fact that I go like month to month and I'm like,
Good for
it's another
you.
month. And I think it's just so significant because like, as I mentioned, like 27 and now quite extroverted. I could do that every time I want to do.
Yeah.
But I think I have like other goals, which I'm not saying that other people don't. It's just for what I want to do.
But
I definitely agree with that too. I encourage, I guess what he called turkey days or turkey months, where you just start. I just don't like my will being controlled by anything other than my own mind and doing what it is that I want to do. So I'll stop drinking. I mean, I don't drink a lot. I don't smoke. I haven't smoked in a while. And I haven't smoked religiously since like high school, which is damn near over 10 years ago. So I definitely agree with turkey days, turkey months, turkey weeks, whatever the fuck you want to call it, where you just cleanse yourself of whatever bullshit you got going on, whether it be food, sex, alcohol, any kind of drug, like people, whatever the technology, whatever the fuck it is, just cleanse yourself.
I definitely think I attribute a lot of my confidence down to the fact that I can't rely on anything.
And your success.
Yeah.
And your education.
Yeah.
But no, but because like, you have psychology degree from UCL.
Yeah.
And you've gone on to other things.
Yeah.
Like, you weren't out getting shit-faced. At
Yeah, I mean, it wasn't an option. My dad is, he's Pakistani. It wasn't. It's great. Now I love the boundaries because they've enabled me to optimize my potential. Obviously, at the time, I was just like, I can't do anything even if I wanted to. So that's why one of the things I always make clear, it's not, I didn't have a choice when it came to having a really kind of non-promiscuous lifestyle. It was my parents were created it, and then it cultivates in yourself, and you internalize it. So it wasn't like a choice I made. I'm sure if I had the freedom, I wouldn't have made these choices. But I would say that I promise you find authenticity when you remove alcohol from your life, and you realize who you actually enjoy the company of. You realize, when you're talking to a girl in the club.
That I don't agree with. I don't know what these takes are. But she's never had alcohol before. Or if she has, she hasn't had it in the many situations that an average person would. So how could you actually say that confidently? I don't think the usage of anything makes you more or less authentic. It just depends on how you use it and how it fits in your life and for what reason.
Fully drunk, and she seems so interesting, and you're like, yeah, I want to take her out, and then you go on a date with her sober, and you're like, this dumb bitch, dumb bitch. And then they call me, my friends always call me, and they're like, oh, she's so boring, and I was like, but you were so drunk when you spoke to her. And they're like, oh, she's not even that pretty. I was like, you were drunk. That's the thing. And then imagine how many bad decisions come from that desire to escape your real life through the use of alcohol. Think of how many children have either been born or aborted just because you wanted a fun night out. It's not worth it.
100%.
Sounds like the only use for alcohol, but for those uses, it definitely is fucked up.
I want to ask you about money. So we're in.
Can I have some? Do you have any?
we're in obviously like a very like rich country, rich area, and even in Singapore as well, it's like very wealthy. Do you think that like females are more drawn towards guys with money?
What happens is in cultures where there's lots of money, it attracts beautiful women. Yeah, because what happens with very beautiful women is they realize how much they can get for free. So they start to clock onto that very quickly. So what happens in cultures like that is that you get super successful men and super beautiful women. And now the money attracts women, absolutely, but it attracts disloyal women. Mm-hmm. Money only attracts disloyal women. If you're an old man with lots of money and you're overweight and this, that, and the other, but you're getting lots of girls, you're not getting girls. You're getting girls, you're getting investors, people who want to get money out of you. That's what you're getting. But money only attracts emotionally unavailable women. But looks or even like character or charisma or comedy, all of these things actually attracts connection. Mm-hmm. So yes, money attracts women, just like having a pair of big boobs attracts men. But is that what you want? Do you want to just attract men with big boobs? It doesn't lead to connection. So it's hollow.
I've seen some studies before. I just like heard them about. You may see this kind of reference like the cheerleader and the college jock reference. So I
actually haven't, so you'll have to teach me. Yeah.
So the cheerleader, who's the main cheerleader, she's a cheerleader captain, and you have the quarterback.
Right.
And when they're in high school, they're like super like, popular and everything.
Yeah.
And as they go on to their career, the cheerleader becomes a lawyer and the quarterback becomes nothing. He just works at Walmart, drinks beer all night, plays video games and watches porn. And then they've kind of diverged out. And as a result, then the relationships are like an unbalance. And then therefore like they've grown differently. Have you ever seen kind of references towards that as well in terms of like actual success with like money? Because if people get together when they're both quite on the same page, but then this guy goes off to make 100 million inside a company, he runs all the ego, everything runs into it.
I see this a lot with celebrities. It's not like I know millions of celebrities, but I'm quite lucky with my circle, and I see this a lot with footballers. I see it a lot with rappers, and I see it a lot with just athletes in general. What happens is they are encouraged to be with somebody from before the fame. They're really encouraged to do that because they can't trust people. When they become famous, they don't know who wants them. Everybody's a bit awkward and inauthentic with them. So they're always with somebody from before the fame. But the problem is the person that they chose before the fame and the money and all of those things is she no longer needs to work on herself because she has to be your pillar of strength. She almost puts herself on pause. He is then going on to conquer the world. Now, the problem that happens is when he comes home, there's no emotional or intellectual intimacy. What I mean by that is if she's been at home cooking and cleaning out, looking after the kids, as beautiful as that is, it has the man that's been closing deals or performing on stage or scoring goals has nothing in common with that because there's been no drive in her day. She can't talk about the peaks and troughs of her day the way he can. So what ends up happening is he's no longer inspired and he's no longer intellectually stimulated. So he doesn't really...
That Yeah, that benefit of the doubt that she's seen that happen before. I'm sure she's seen it with her circle, but I also don't see that. Yeah, I don't count that as a factor for real. Because inspiration comes from different things. I don't need you to be on the same shit I'm on to be inspired. If anything, the things that I'm lacking in the outside world that I don't get, that would inspire me more. Having someone who can emotionally tap into me and understand what I just got done going through and explain and being able to convey what it is that they go through, whether they're going through it outside of the household or not, is inspiring. That you just have to have a partner who actually fucking likes you enough and loves you enough, finds you attractive enough, is in and you're both intimate enough to where it doesn't matter what the fuck you're doing. You could be doing two different things. Now, yes, I've had partners who don't do they don't do nearly as much as I do. And I still loved it, still enjoyed the fact that hey, we have something in common. Whether it's the kids are gone, let's go dancing, let's go have a nice glass of wine or a nice glass of anything. Let's go. We're into films or we're into music. We're into art. Let's go paint. Let's go have a picnic. Let's go travel. Like, you don't have to be what I'm on to draw that connection with me. So whether, and I've had this in both situations where I wasn't making nearly as much as she was, but she never made me feel like I was less than, never made me feel like I wasn't the leader in the relationship. Always gave me opportunity to lead. Hey, this is what I need help with. This is what I don't understand. Whether it been something emotional or business related. Now, sure, you can have a really strong relationship with somebody if you can speak that business the kind of business rhetoric too, and you can draw those parallels, but it's not necessary, and it yeah, it's really not necessary. Because if anything, men also love to teach, and women love men who can teach them something. So if you're not coming from the background I have, or we came from similar backgrounds and then we disperse and we're studying something completely different, and you're choosing to be a stay-at-home mom and I'm choosing to be a footballer or a rapper or whatever, there are certain things about my life that will be interesting enough that you may want to learn and you may want to partake in whether it's in the household or you want to take it outside the household and we do business together. It's possible. So that piece I don't agree with at all.
That's what it is. He thinks he's just bored of it. But then all it takes is him to meet a girl that works in a top accounting firm and she says something interesting and he glorifies that statement. He's like, oh my God, my wife's never said something so intellectual. And
intellect is completely, I mean, in what are you intellectually advanced in? So it just sounds like you may have a boring ass partner. Like, you can get bored of people. This is completely fine. You can get bored of people, even if she is the top tier, whatever she is in her career. You can get bored of people. It naturally happens. New relationship tax, I guess you could call it. New relationship investments or new relationship foundations are just fun. They'll always be that way, which is why you have to keep reinventing your relationships, no matter how long they've been. Which is why space and having that space outside of the home and letting her do her thing and learn herself in the home, or vice versa, however the fuck you want to do it, is necessary.
Start to become drawn to intellectual intimacy because their days are so stimulating and they can't relate to that bored housewife. So that's the problem I do find.
Don't have to be boring to be a housewife.
Interesting now, because I was thinking that like the CEO dude, whatever,
Yeah.
he would not be as interested in the boss babe who's also trying to build
No.
her career.
Here's the thing: they don't like the boss babe if it's masculine and rejecting. Yeah, that's what it is. It's not what you do; it's how you make your partner feel. If I'm a boss, but I'm still looking after my man, I'm still kissing him, hugging him, making him feel loved. He's not going to mind that I'm a boss. But if I'm a boss babe and I'm like, oh, I'm not coming home for a couple of days, or I'm not spending time with you, that's what they don't like.
The likelihood of you finding one like that is too slim, way too slim. And I've been blessed enough. She's top tier in what the fuck she does. Very male dominated space, and she's murking a lot of niggas in that space. I'm not even gonna lie to you. That's probably one of my proudest fucking relationships. But extremely feminine though, and that's what makes me the proudest, is the fact that she could turn it off. It's not just the fact that she was a fucking sniper at her job, like just a cold motherfucker at what she did. That I loved too, but it was also in the field that I loved too. We mutually enjoyed the field, even if she was okay with being like, yo, I'll stay at home. I'll have my own studio. I can take on a few projects, and then I just want to focus on my family. She was willing to do that. And she could have done that without being in a field that was within her field. She could have done that, just went to school, got the degree, and then started her own studio or firm. She didn't have to partake in the actual arena of what she was doing. She chose to do that, and it's definitely helped her progress in her career. But yeah, you can do the same as a house anything. Hobbies don't have to stop. Interests don't have to stop. Being at home anything does not have to make you boring. People have this notion that when you get kids, you just have to sit your ass still all day, every day, and just attend to their growth. But you can't do that if you're not growing too. That's a pivotal moment in time for you to learn yourself, relearn yourself, whether you're a man or a woman, and continue growing for yourself, for the child now, and for your partner. Just gives you an extra person to go even harder for on the self growth. So yeah, these are but it's always wrapped around kind of what the men are doing wrong, and kind of wild context and structure to build around.
That is actually how you're making them feel. But there is something so stimulating and attractive about somebody else who matches your intellectual level. I'm not talking about financial level, intellectual level. Now, if you're having a busy day podcast talking to really intelligent people, and then you come home and let's say, for example, I don't know anything, you can't share some of that wisdom you learned today. I have a lot of interesting conversations every day. If I'm with somebody who doesn't get it, I'll end up just saying, "Oh, work was fine. It was okay." What do you internally? You're thinking, "There's no point telling you."
You don't. For you may require that. Most men do not require that. We do not care. I'm telling you right now, we don't care. What Stephen Smith say? We don't care, bro. We don't care. We have friends. We have friend groups. We have our collective who can speak to us in that way if we want to do that. This is why space and having your friend groups on both ends your support group be so important, because I don't want to continue hearing about the shit that I just got done talking about with the homies or with business partners or with even a woman. At some point I've probably talked to her about this already. I've already gotten that energy that I need from some other place. I don't need that from the person I want to come home to and be my authentic, this version of my authentic self, and be relaxed and be goofy and be playful and just sit there and hear about her fucking rant about what she did with her friend group, or have her say something silly as fuck as far as if I would continue loving her if she was a puddle of fucking water in a cup, or a worm in the middle of Australia. Like that would be fine too. Like I don't think men have to have these super deep intellectual conversations all the time that revolve around our work. Me and the most intellectual partner I've had thus far, although she was in the same field I loved, and people who know me would know who I'm talking about and what field I'm talking about, because it's a field that I'm deeply passionate about. Actually, I've had multiple partners I've been able to draw the connection between what I love and do versus where they are in their life. For her, it was highly intellectual based off of the field she was in, she was working in, and the things she was doing with that field, I love being a part of. And she brought me into her world and taught me more about it. And because I had never done it professionally versus where she's done it her whole life professionally. But the pieces that we attached, we became attached with, was the fact that how she came about learning that this was the career for her, and how it kind of chose her, and going through her family history and learning about her family and what parts they played in getting her to where she is now. That was the most interesting part. If I was in the field she was in, I don't want to talk about, I wouldn't really give a shit about us knowing the same language to a degree and how we went through the same processes to get something. Could we use it? Yeah, but the more important pieces are past that. It's like, and you can do that within, and the person that was least likely, she wasn't like extremely professional, younger, still went to school, but it was just her lifestyle and the way that she lived and how she chose to eat and why she chose to do that. She was professional and very educated in a whole different way. Like when it came to what she put in her body as far as food, she was extremely intentional about, and it always made me interested in like just learning about that. So you just have to have partners who are open-minded enough to, and can draw those parallels between why we actually fuck with each other, what got us into being in tune with each other in the first place, and how can we keep developing that and growing that. And 9 times out of 10, I think it's going to be rare that it's your career, unless you meet somebody in your field. But even then, what you're going to build the attachment on is rarely going to be your career.
So there's a disconnect. How much can you talk? So that's why it leads to a problem.
How do
You have to have partners who know how to talk, who are good communicators, who are interesting, good storytellers, know how to draw parallels.
you share enough with your partner, but it doesn't become all about work? Because if you're the CEO, bro, like you do nothing else but fucking spreadsheets, right? So
Yeah.
how do you create that kind of
Balance?
like balance, but also have that kind of like excitement in a relationship that's not just always talking about bullshit?
Well, you talk about what's mutually interesting. Yeah. So let's say, for example, you're talking about spreadsheets. I don't care about finances. I'm very like, it's just not my thing. But if you come and speak to me about spreadsheets, I'm not going to be interested. But if you're going to say to me, because I'm a psychologist, if you say, I felt so nervous in a meeting today, I felt so angry with a colleague today, that I can connect to. Why? What happened? Oh, he said da da da. There's an element of mutual interest. But if you say this spreadsheet doesn't, I don't know how spreadsheet, I can't even complete the sentence. This crypto broke. I don't know. I don't know anything about these things. So if you say that to me, my brain doesn't work. But if you say I'm so stressed because, then my brain is activated. So it's about expressing mutual interest.
Makes sense.
Yeah.
Makes sense.
That's essentially what I was just saying. So yeah, definitely lean on that more than anything, and then create new interests, mutual interests. Like go do new shit together. There should be a point in time in the relationship where you both are saying you're doing something for the first time, and then see how that works. See how you respond. See how your partner responds.
I want to get into like attractiveness, like so your perspective is also going to be very unique versus the red pill community. So I want to ask you
losers.
that first. What's your? So I don't even read.
Again, how much has she actually dug into the red pill community to call somebody a loser? I want to say maybe 5 to 10% max. If you don't understand something, it's okay to say that.
What
No,
what
no.
that even means, though. Do you know?
Yeah.
As in, like, I thought it meant like anti-matrix, and I was like, oh yeah, that's good.
Yeah, that's what I thought. And I was
thought it
like,
meant
this is
that.
great.
But then
It's a part of it.
there's all like black pills, and now there's all different color
nonsense.
pills.
Yeah.
But what's your reservations around that? What's your
My reservations is that it's men who don't have the qualities it takes to get women and have healthy relationships, giving advice to other men about what makes a healthy relationship. Now, here's the thing. I'm not saying everybody has to be married with kids to give advice or anything like that. But if you're taking somebody who's faced a lot of rejection and a lot of like negativity, because usually it stems from that. You know, the red pill, they're very angry about, you know, this went wrong, this is what women are like, and this is, they're all, it's usually the men that face a lot of rejection in some way, shape or form. And through their rejection, they've got lots of wisdom. I'm not saying they're totally wrong. Through their rejection, they've got a lot of wisdom. And then they give you all the tricks about women and this, that, and the other. And here's the thing. They talk about women not being accountable. They're totally unaccountable, because here's the trick. If you vet a woman correctly and you stand by your boundaries and you select correctly, you will never have a problem with women. But when you allow them to disrespect you, when you break your boundaries, when you, accept the unacceptable, of course you're going to have problems, not just with women, with everybody.
That's also not the main point of the red pill. I get what she's saying, and I agree 100%. But I think the I think the red pill was created because men had already thought they were doing this, and to a certain point they probably were. And then after they'd done this and they chose to do this, shit got flipped. So you can do all of the right things and still end up with a partner who can do a complete 180. And I think men after a certain point, where they came to partners doing this, where they came to society doing this to them, they just got fed up with it. So yeah, I agree with the if you don't have discernment, you don't have the emotional intelligence, you don't have the discipline to actually do the work to vet the people that you have in your life and the things and the hobbies that you have, the family that you keep, you could easily grow resentment and this cynical mindset around society and around the people in it. But that was not, that's not the large portion of red pill, and that's not why it was created.
It's making men feel like women are these like awful kind of enemies, but the reality is I don't struggle with getting a man to be nice to me because I don't accept a man that's not nice to me. So therefore I can't relate to that girl that's like, men are trash, this and the other, because I'm just like, well, I don't allow that behavior to enter my life. Similarly, if a man is talking about women are this, women that, what it signals is you've allowed unacceptable behavior. That's on you. You have to take accountability for that. So if we start taking accountability for our selection process, we won't be red pill, black pill, blue pill. We will just be healthy.
Very true. I agree 100%. And that's why the red pill was created. So that it evened the playing field, so that men actually understood how to use the vetting process and how women actually can slip through the cracks of the vetting process if you're not careful. And then what happens on the back end of you not being careful is also being discussed. So let me turn this light up a little bit. It's kind of dark in here now. That's the reason for the red pill, and understanding where you may have gone wrong and how to fix it, and what things to tolerate, what things not to tolerate. And now you have this battle because certain shit women want you to tolerate just because they are women, and it's not flying.
What do women find attractive?
If I was trying to say one word that women find attractive, I would just say masculinity. And what I mean by masculinity,
Okay, let me let her finish.
I keep talking about this, but I promise you, women find boundaries very attractive. They pretend that they don't. Here's the thing: they'll say, "You can't tell me what to do." Yeah, you can't. Yeah, here's the thing: they'll say, "You can't tell me what to do. I'm my own woman." This, that, and the other. But there's something so attractive about a man that says, who's not a people pleaser. When you're with a people pleaser, what happens then is you just can't get that same chemistry for him because he just likes what you like.
But she hasn't gone into why women actually say these things. Because I honestly don't. I honestly believe they don't know why. Like, she hasn't gone into the fucking psychology behind why women say one thing and literally want another, but then can't understand why men are confused or angry or disheartened by this process and the hoops that women will have you jump through in order to just come to the conclusion that they want you to accept them for how they are. They don't want to put in no fucking work to understand you, to learn you. They just want you to accept them. And it seems to be more of that than the women that she will speak to, which are the, hey, filter the process and find the woman who will still be a boss bitch, but at the same time know how to be submissive and appoint you leader in a relationship, no matter where you fall, financially or socially. That shit is rare. And it's expected for men to actually date down the economical ladder, which is okay. I mean, I'm not opposed to it. I don't think anybody's opposed to it other than people who can't manage. But why are we not evening the playing field now that we're in a more modern era? Everybody wants to do a whole bunch of modern shit outside of that. I'm not sure why.
Whereas,
Well, double standards is why, but you know.
and he's not a people pleaser, and he lets you know what's what. There's something so attractive about that, because then what happens is you can allow him to lead. You can give him some of the decision making. Now, when my partner is not a people pleaser, I can just be like, oh, what should I do in this situation? What should I do in that? Like, you need to do da-da-da. And I'm like, oh, I feel shy saying that. And he's like, no, da-da-da, because he's not a people.
And again, you use the word allow. Just like she has to allow you to be a leader, which isn't something that you simply just fucking turn on and off. Women should not be allowed to just be submissive just because they want to turn it on and off. This temporary submissiveness is what men are also getting hip to as well. If you want me to come pre-installed with fucking the masculine DLC, then I think it should be I should go through a vetting process to make sure that you also have the same fucking thing and you can reciprocate the same energy. What tends to happen is men are just emotionally not equipped as well as women are. So it's easier for them to slip through the cracks. And because you're taking your time, and time is literally not on her side, you run into a lot of fucking problems. And a lot of issues sprawl from that.
But if he was a people pleaser, I couldn't make those phone calls. I
Nice
can't.
guy.
I can't ask him. Do I look nice in this? Yeah, you look nice. Should I go here? Yeah, whatever you think. I'm not getting anything from that. Therefore, I can't submit because I can't trust him to lead. So I think
Facts.
the boundaries and not being a people pleaser is the most attractive thing to a woman.
So
Facts.
from a guy's perspective, they will have their own idea about what guys find or what girls find attractive. So what would you say the flip side to that is? So like
What men find attractive in
Yeah.
women, I think, without them realizing, I think the real thing that they find attractive in women is a woman who is incredibly nurturing. I think no matter how self-sufficient and how masculine.
Again, with the Jesus fucking Christ. Without them realizing. Like, why did you have to frame it that way? We realize, trust me, we realize we like nurturing women. We realize we actually want affection and intimacy. We realize these things. Whoever you're speaking to, whatever group of men you're talking about, you should probably narrow down on these types of people don't realize. Men in a general sense, we fucking realize this.
Man is, but when a woman takes care of or predicts his needs before he says it, he can't help but melt. So if she knows he might be hungry and there's something ready, if she knows that he might be tired, there's a coffee ready, if she knows that he's got work in the morning, he's going to be in a rush, there's a shirt ironed, these kind of nurturing acts makes a man feel loved. And I don't think they realize it because they're so conditioned to not expect that from women anymore and see that as oppressive and see that as toxic. They're just like, oh no, I don't even expect that. But when they receive it,
Nobody's ever said that. Nobody's ever said that, bruh. I don't know any nigga that found his wife or girlfriend being proactive in action and reciprocating in a different in a different way. My ass had to crank it up once. I had to crank up the in a different way. I don't think any nigga on this fucking planet has found that as oppressive at all. I've never heard that shit, bro. If y'all have ever heard that, please drop that in the comment section, bro. I've never heard that.
Act like babies, like just received an opened present. They're like, oh, coffee for me, like, you know, like you did that for me, and it's like, oh yeah.
And it has shit to do with being a baby. Please stop saying that.
And I think
that shit just sounds so. That just sounds so emasculating. Like, why do you have to emasculate the process of it all? It has shit to do with being a baby, being nourished. Sure, it breaks you down foundationally in the hierarchy of needs. It is at the bare minimum that you need food, and it is pleasant to have. You need a nurture and an intimacy and affection. As a human, you need that at any level, at baby, at teen, at adult, old age, fucking midlife crisis era, whatever it is, you need that. You don't have to preface it with some degrading thing knocking me back fucking phases in my life to a baby for you to express that. And I don't know why she keeps doing that.
That is actually their universal love language.
I don't even think she realized she's doing it.
Never mentioned looks there at all in either one.
They do matter, but you know, to each their own. And honestly,
again, which is why I don't just listen to anybody. Looks matter a fucking lot. It ain't no to each their own. If they gotta be very attractive to you, they have to be very, very attractive to you. Because after a while, that shit. Shout out to AMS, man. That shit starts to wear off. I don't give a. All of my partners have pretty much been. I say adjustable, but attractive to me to some degree. Whether because I'm a very unique nigga. I just like unique features. Like you have to hit some of the beauty standards, whether it be the shape of the face or the curvature of the body or bust in certain areas and shape certain ways. You have to hit some of the markers, but what's important to me really is just having a unique feature. I love women with unique features. So whether it be your eyes or gap in your tooth or braces or fucking glasses or freckles or specific types of hair or specific types of style, like I just like uniqueness. It has to be authentic to you because I've had ranges where women have dressed like fucking 30-year-old school teachers or 40-year-old school teachers from fucking Europe somewhere, but she was black, but she loved that style. It was very like in that Tyler the Creator kind of realm when he started dressing less street and more formal. She kind of dressed that way, but in her own little style. She wore heels and Bottega and fucking what do you call those shits? Fuck. I have a pair of them, but the shoes that Tyler always wears, the fucking not slippers, but damn, why is that leaving me right now? But those they're dress shoes, but you know she wore them in a very fashionable way, and that was just her style. But it was unique as fuck to her, and I loved it. And then I've had some that are like extremely Y2K, like, but I fuck with it. It was really cool to see. I love wearing black and neutral tones and shit like that. So I could compliment any of these women because the shape and form of it was very formal in what I wear. Like 70s, 80s to 90s to almost futuristic, like in shape and material. So because I like fashion, I could compliment each partner when it came to fashion. Or they kind of formed to me based off what the season was and what I was wearing. But they always had to be attractive to me to some degree, to a good degree, for me to make sure it was going to go long term. And I don't think I've ever had a relationship that was less than 2 years or so. Like I don't really do one night stands. I don't do flings. I don't do quick turnarounds. At this point in my life, I might because I'm moving too much. I'm jumping around too much and moving too fast to where it is I'm trying to go. So I don't really see myself sitting down with a person that long. There had to be a very intentional and again unique person to be able to keep up with my lifestyle because I have a lot of shit I want to do. But yeah, it's not to each their own as far as how much the person has to be attractive to you. Now the attraction to that person is based off you. Some people don't like thick women. Some people don't like petite women. I'm a fucking 90s Halle Berry, Nia Long, um, Diana Ross's daughter. I forgot. I keep forgetting her fucking name. Tracy Ellis Ross. Like I'm that speed, but I can also go. Megan Thee Stallion. I'm from Atlanta. I'm from the South. So, but again, what is attractive to me and what to put it on 10 is her ability to, because I'm demisexual, her ability to keep me stimulated and keep me the leader, and being physically fit to some degree has always been the standard, and hitting some of those beauty standards and then just being compatible sexually will keep me steady for a while. So yeah, it's not as looks and chemistry is very high, and her kind of shooing off of that is kind of telling.
So there's a market
Especially coming from a highly attractive woman.
everybody. There is a market for everybody. You can be attractive, unattractive, tall, short, fat, skinny. There's a market for everybody.
She literally just talked about people pleasing, but then again turned around and said there's a market for everybody. And she's making it sound like beauty is not the beauty standard is not a standard for a reason. People who are unattractive, people who are unfit, people who are, whether that be physically or socially, you will have a hard time. So if you can maximize your attractiveness by any scale, please do so.
Somebody who will find you attractive. Some people are luckier than others, but the reality is there's a market for everybody.
I want to ask you about like, so on the attractiveness side and on like the physical components, do you think that's kind of been taken a little bit far out of context recently with the fact that, as you mentioned, like guys can take steroids, girls can get any type of surgery these days, but to go like more and more extreme?
Well, here's the problem. It's ideal. It's why we're having so many short-term relationships, because it's like putting a plaster over a broken leg. Like you can cover it and this, that, and the other, but the reality is it needs fixing. And so what's happening is people are masking their insecurities with a beautiful package. But when they get together, it takes a relatively insecure person to invest so much into their appearance. That insecure person is then going to attract another insecure person, but they haven't worked on the vulnerabilities that's causing a disconnect. So I think that's why we're so focused on short-term, because looks is a very short-term strategy. So if we put emphasis on that.
Yeah, I can't agree. I can't agree, bro. Looks is not short term at all. I'm telling you now. We've all, if you're grown enough, you're old enough, you've been with, and you're dating enough, you've been through the scales. Like, you know who you'll hit, like, this would be cool short term, or this would be cool one night, this would be cool when nobody's looking, and you've hit, oh no, I'm interested in this motherfucker. Like, I can't stop thinking about this motherfucker, bro. Like, she's my type. You're willing to invest so much more. Shout out to AMS, man. You're willing to invest so much more. You're willing to give so much more emotionally, financially, physically than you are with somebody who's just, oh, well, you're in the market, so somebody will find you attractive. That ain't what you want. You don't want just somebody finding you attractive. You want the person who finds your type as attractive as possible to be attracted to you. That's what you want. You want that nigga to, you want her or him to, like, nigga, be on my body type shit. Like, you don't want no, yeah, she cool, you know, we'll go out here and there type shit, or, you know, she can get sexy sometime. You wanna straight out of the bathroom, straight out of the shower, you wanna find her appealing, you wanna find her attractive, you wanna find her sexy. Because it is very fucking important for the longevity of a relationship, especially from a man's point of view. I don't know, an attractive woman who looks like her saying this, psychologists or not, I don't think that's the right take.
Emphasizing what makes short-term connections. So it's sad, but it is the way of the world. I can't, you know.
But
there's
it's also
nothing-
been around for so long, though.
Yeah,
you know,
it's
like,
life.
I know it's been like, you know, it's like 10 times worse like now. But
Yeah,
if
it's
you, so I was
life.
thinking like if you went back to the 70s and 60s, they were like the first boob jobs. And
Yeah,
then,
but here's the thing. I know, like, I'm a psychologist and stuff like that, and people always say, "Oh, you know, you're a psychologist. You wear makeup and this, that, and the other." Like, I shouldn't, or something like that. But I'm always going to wear makeup. I'll wear it on my funeral if I have to. Yeah. So, but here's the thing: looks matter. And if you aren't attractive, that doesn't matter, but you can still be attractive. As in, you can take care of your body, you can take care of your physique, you can take care of your outfits, and this looks matter. And the reason they matter is they're a signal of your self-esteem. What I mean by this is, and I'm talking for myself as well, when I'm not feeling good and I've maybe gained weight or something like that, I'm in black, this, that, and the other. It signals, it's my signal to the world, don't look at me. But when I'm feeling good, looking good, I make more of an effort. Now, the reality, when I have clients come to me, especially men, and they say they're feeling low and this, that, and the other, if they're overweight, I say, you need a PT, not a psychologist. Go to a PT first.
I love that.
I'm such a bitch.
Because
I'm like, you're too fat to be here.
But it's
I'll
true,
say
though.
it. I'll say
You
it
have
to
to take
them.
care of yourself.
I'm like, okay,
Confidence.
I'm like, okay, I'm gonna have a conversation with you. Boost your ego for 10 minutes, and then you're gonna go eat cake. What is the point of that conversation? Fix your body first. I promise you, you won't even need me.
and think of how difficult it is to get all those things right. So
I wonder what the feedback is to women though.
training, nutrition, diet, sleep, have all that stuff in check, even professional side stuff. Not even making loads of money, but if you just get a good job or it's a job that makes you respect yourself,
Yeah.
then you bring that to the dating market, whether you're in a bar talking to a girl or if you use an app to talk to a girl.
And you're not grateful every time a girl looks at you because you're like, well, I look after myself and this, that, and the other.
abundance
It's
versus
abundance.
scarcity.
And here's the thing: I work with many CEOs and successful men. They tend to have very predictable routines. They wake up stupid early, and they tend to get their workout out the way. They work out stupid time in the morning, and by stupid o'clock they finish, and they usually just eat one meal a day. And so I'm not saying that this is optimal, but the most successful men I know are strict with what they put into their body because it's a signal of self-respect. Now, same thing with women. This whole body shaming culture and this, that, and the other, and I could be very taken out of context. But here's the thing: if you're an overweight woman coming to me to saying, "How do I build confidence?" You go to your gym. I can't do it for you because what's causing your lack of confidence is your inability to respect your body. You have to respect it first.
Oh, it's not, you're a fat slob. You don't need me, you need PT. It's not that harsh. It's, oh, well, go to the gym. Yeah. Which, I mean, I fuck with, but, men definitely need to hear it cutthroat, but I think women do too. So this trying to sugarcoat shit when you're talking to women versus men, it has to stop.
And that includes
Because they've been hearing it so fucking long from everybody.
just the food you put in, who you share it with, everything. You have to respect your body. So until you lose the weight, it's limited what I can do for you.
100%.
Yeah.
I think there's so many nuances to that. Like, and I've been training for 13, 14 years for this exact reason because...
Were you ever a personal trainer?
No, I was going to go down the route of the fitness side of things, but I actually, like, my background's in software, like software engineering.
Oh, wow.
But mixed with kind of business as well. So I wanted to... I actually built a PT app.
Amazing.
When I was 18.
When you were 18? Is it still around? Or?
It's from my final year college
Amazing.
project. But then,
you make apps?
so my background's in software, and I've obviously pivoted into the podcast world.
Oh, amazing.
So I worked with some like big scale-up companies, startup companies, stuff like this.
Amazing.
But what I'm trying to say is that I've just always had that passion, that interest, and I just even here, like, as in I went to Tam Khan's gym, training there.
Yeah.
And I just like.
But here's the thing: I'm not passionate about working out, and I love food. I really do. I don't enjoy the gym. It doesn't do it. The people that love it and stuff like that. I've been doing it for years and years. I've never developed that love for it. But the reality is, I have to do it because otherwise I suffer psychologically. I suffer. I know I'll suffer. Like in Ramadan, I can't really work out. I can cut my food, but I can't really work out. I see the change in my body. I see how I don't like myself as a result. I psychologically suffer. So I go regardless, even if you don't have that. Because so many people say, oh, I hate the gym. I don't have time for the gym. If you don't have time for the gym, you should definitely not have time to eat so much. Eat less. Compensate. Do something. 100%. But food comes, body comes first. It's mind, body, and soul. We're holistic humans. We can't work on one without the other. It won't work.
Facts. Please. Even if you're genetically blessed, get your ass in the gym just to shake that energy off. it's a lot of trauma just trapped in you physically that you could get out. You know, even if you don't go to a psychologist or you don't journal, or I mean, most men don't. I forgot the percentage, but women definitely go do these things more than men do. You know, just shake that shit out. Like that could be your version of therapy. Just go ball it out, go soccer it out, go fucking weight lift it out. You know, go run it out. However you can. You know, and then make sure you get your hair cut. You look good. I need to fucking groom up. That's my day today. That's what I usually do on chill days like this. But you know, just tend to yourself. It's very important.
Multifactorial.
Yeah.
I want to ask you about the kind of rise in people saying, "Oh, you should have like multiple girlfriends" and stuff like this, right? So,
What do you think I'm going to say to this?
I want to. So there's two sides. There's obviously like the practical side of things in
Yeah.
terms of like,
As someone who's poly and have been for years, this is going to be interesting. But I already know the reasons why you shouldn't and why most men can't. Most people can. But yeah, I've heard Jordan Peterson's take on this. I've heard many people's take on this.
you know, should you do that or not? But I also want to discuss from like the women's perspective the psychological impacts
Yes.
of a guy who who has multiple girlfriends. But I want to give the caveat that the guy takes care of
Financially.
but he's also there like emotionally for like the children, and he's also like plays a big part in that.
Yeah.
So that's obviously like a lot to do. But yeah,
Here's the thing. Women that accept cheating men are cheating women.
That's not cheating. That's not what he said at all. So for her to actually, I kind of figured it was going to go this way. For her to even preface it with this, she's already created context that is negative. Nobody said being polygamous or polyamorous was cheating. You can cheat within those dynamics, definitely. You can cheat in any dynamic. But nobody said men with multiple women who's also taking care of them physically, financially, taking care of their kids, and showing up emotionally. That doesn't sound like cheating to me. He dropped all that in there, and she still prefaced it with cheating men. Women who accept cheating men are also cheating women, just to start the context. Which is why I don't just listen to anyone.
It's really that simple. And women who don't accept cheating men are the loyal ones. So if you're going to cheat on your wife and you're going to cheat on your partner and you think, but I'm looking after her, so it's okay. And the red pill community really pushes that. Here's what they're not realizing. Only unfaithful women are okay with that deal. I promise you.
That's not true either. And time and time again, that's been proven to not be true. Men have, whether they're allowed to or not, men have always explored outside of the home. And if the woman doesn't feel the force of that, the negative energy of that, if it is negative energy, because it may not be negative, if he's handling what the fuck he needs to do and he's making sure to show up for his family and his kids and his wife, and you don't even notice the fact, or even if you do, he still shows up and he's safe, yeah, the likelihood of women accepting that, if you provide what you need to, is pretty high. I say don't do it anyway, just because it's not cheating specifically. It's just not, one, the shit ain't player. Two, it's not worth the fucking headache. Like, and I think men are realizing that. I'd rather just continue dating you and have the ability to date other people versus just locking in with you and you not understanding that I still want to date other people. Whether it be time and time again or continuously, I still want to explore sexually with other people. And then you have men who, if you locked in enough, they don't have any need for that. They don't want to spend any more money dating. They don't want to, if they're doing it properly, you really don't have to spend much money dating. But they don't want to deal with the emotions of multiple people. Most can't do that. So, yeah, these takes about multiple partners are always, yeah, they're pretty shit.
I work with them every single day. What happens is the woman that's actually loyal and really loves you, she can't handle the anxiety of it. She can't do it because she's too loyal, she's too loving, she's this, that, and the other. She disappears, she makes her life hell, she's horrible, whatever it is, but she tends to be loyal. But the woman who is there for a paycheck and who's there sneaky, accepting it, this, that, and the other, I promise you she's plotting her revenge, because in this day and age, the loyal woman, and where she would just stay at home and just close the door when you would do something, they don't exist anymore. We have to accept that doesn't exist anymore.
Yeah, I mean, that definitely plays a factor. I don't think with so many options out there. But then again, finding that one of one nigga too. If you're not one of them ones, if you're not the woman who looks like her and can step outside and find, and then again, one of one could also mean emotionally, all of that he wrapped into how he prefaced this. That's hard to find, even if you financially have found somebody. To financially find somebody, and then on top of that, they still take care of shit, they still show up emotionally, they still love you. The likelihood of you finding another nigga like that, and all he needs to do is just get a nut off at a conference that is 2,000 miles away from you. I don't know. I think women are willing to trade that. Because he shows his loyalty. Men show their loyalty differently, and you can sexually show loyalty too. But we want that more from women than we do ourselves, and maybe that's an issue. Who knows? But if you're not sexually immature and dangerous, and just treat your dick like a quick trip bathroom, anybody can just stop by and use it and then fucking move on. If you're not doing that, you're very intentional about the fact that you understand you have this urge, and you actually want to explore with other people. I don't know. I don't see the issue.
If that woman doesn't exist anymore, yeah, and yet you want to do that lifestyle, accept that only the women that are able to take a financial rather than emotional investment are going to stay. You're filtering it out. Those women tend to be disloyal.
Actually, after a while, it only becomes a financial investment, because women, as they get older, they're the ones who are actually opting out of the marriages and relationships. So yeah, after a while, if I understand that physically we're not going to be that attracted to one another, cool. I would like you to still keep shit stable for me, household wise. And with that trade-off, like in other cultures, go find you, go pay for it, go do whatever, just don't bring it back home.
If you are going to create that dynamic, be prepared that you're also getting it back, but she's not telling you, and she's doing it using your wallet.
That's when it gets even more of like a.
I've never
issue.
seen it not work that way. Never. Maybe because I do in big cities and stuff. Maybe it's different in rural areas and this, that, and the other way. The women doesn't have it. But the reality is, it takes a certain type of woman that accepts that, and that type of woman is the one that's like, okay, I'm going to keep quiet, but honey.
That's so.
And again, creating this narrative about women who actually accept and tolerate men understanding their urge to actually procreate. Yeah, I guess the rhetoric will never change, really. It doesn't matter if you actually say you understand people and you've gone to school for it at the top school or not. The rhetoric is not going to change. When it's men saying it, when it's men saying, hey, I love your pussy a lot and I love you a lot, but there's a new pussy tax that I also want to try. So it's more exciting. It's just enjoyable. It's a new chemical experience when you try something new. And I don't know I'm pretty sure it works the same for men and women. But I just know women aren't likely to even want to partake when they have a solid partner who can still please them in the bed, which is why you niggas need to learn how to do so. Stop being lazy as fuck, and yeah, you'll fuck up. That's how you fuck up and have her go out and figure out how she's gonna maneuver her way out of the situation. Because you're not even bringing the testosterone back. Okay, nigga, you just got your new boost. Yeah. Where mine at? Like, don't stop fucking me how I want to be fucked just because you chose to go and give all that energy to somebody else. You should be using that to learn how to tap back in to your partner, not tap out.
Dangerous, you know what I mean? Like the
Here's what it is.
You know?
The children suffer.
That's what I mean. Yeah, it's going to be back to the core, and
What
let that generation continue on.
In my experience of seeing couples with
I'm assuming she never studied Amish, the Amish community, or even outside of American culture, which multiple wives and partners was encouraged for a while in America too.
both are doing that, the only people that suffer are the children, because mum is disconnected, dad is disconnected, and they're not connected to each other. When they're connected to each other, the shared goal is the children. But one is going there, the other one's going there. The children don't know what time mum is coming home. They don't know what time dad's coming home.
Do you think women are under more pressure these days with picking between a family or a career?
They are, but I feel like they're almost pressured to do the career thing.
Yeah, 100%. They're looked down on
so I don't
always.
feel like they are under pressure. I think they're just misdirected. And here's the thing, what I really think it's down to is when you're an educated woman, what happens is your potential gets bigger than just a housewife. I'm not saying just a housewife in a disrespectful way. Yeah, I think it's the most amazing thing you can do. My mum is a housewife, but my mum didn't go to uni and stuff like that. When a woman has done so much and she's worked or something like that, what's happened is she knows how to optimize her brain's utility. Like, she knows what it's capable of. When she goes from that to just looking after the kids all day, what happens is she starts to resent that role a bit more. And so it's really difficult for women, because they love that child, they want to be there for that child, this, that, and that, but they do need an intellectual outlet.
That comes from the pressure within your group, because you're not focusing on how to actually optimize the potential and maximize the potential of being a housewife. And now there's this painting of it in a very specific way. It looks boring as fuck. It looks non-enticing. It looks like you can't use your intellectual value to create something beautiful and amazing within this household. It looks that way because people continue to paint it that way. And it doesn't have to be.
Before, because she didn't expand her brain as much, it's fine just, having one-way conversations with your 3-year-old. Now it's become very difficult for women. So it's very hard for them. Imagine being...
You don't have to sit in your nice house that your man is providing you and just talk to your fucking 3-year-old. It doesn't have to be that way. I promise you, bro. It doesn't have to be that way. And thank God for all the cool fucking moms in the creative space. In the creative spaces that I've seen and met, bro. Like, some of the coolest fucking people on the planet are some moms I've met in this space. And they're dope as fuck. And they don't just sit around not maximizing their potential simply because they have a child. And you don't have to either.
Intellectually stimulated all day, to go to just this kind of selfless being for a while who is not even responsive to you yet, and you're a slave to that child. It's not easy. And even little things like...
Again, how she's painting motherhood is very important in this situation, in this context.
Is used to dressing up.
Because we're still talking about who's responsible for the pressures of women choosing careers over motherhood. And that, and basically she's saying that women aren't responsible for it. They're being misdirected. Which I'm assuming she's going to go into how men aren't suitable leaders in the household. So now women have chosen to take this role. It keeps coming back to the same shit. It doesn't matter how much they understand humans, how much they've studied. It continues to come back to the same thing.
Heels on, going to work, and now she just can't remember the last time she got her hair done. It's very difficult for women.
Why would you stop that?
So I understand where the misdirection is coming from, but it's very difficult to go from expansive brain to then just doing that and feeling fulfilled. So they end up becoming negative and taking it out on their partner. They end up abusing their husbands. They're almost resentful and jealous that their husband can just pick up and go to work and then come back when he wants and then go to football, whereas she can't do any of that because she's so connected and so the child is so reliant on her. So it's very difficult. I really, really don't have the answer for this one.
I feel like if I had a child that I wouldn't.
She don't have the answer, but she went into a whole ass spiel about how women are basically tortured by motherhood. But she doesn't have the answer. Okay, you probably should have started with
wanted
that.
to do all the fucking go and play golf and go into football, everything, because the other person would grow resentful.
Yeah.
It's almost like you feel now under pressure that you shouldn't. Like you should be.
Yeah.
Like, so I'd want to be there because it's the right thing to do. Like it's not the right thing to do.
But
to
you
go
actually
off
want
and
to help them.
exactly,
You
know what I
want
mean?
to help them. And when you've got partners that genuinely your happiness is my happiness, your burdens are my burdens, they get through it really well. But when you've got partners that are in competition with each other and saying, you went to golf, so I'm going to go out with the girls, it's a recipe for resentment.
That's true. That's very true.
There, but the more opportunities, like the woman was obviously she's more exposed to more opportunities, which is obviously a great thing.
Great
We're,
thing,
You know,
yeah.
we're like top 1% in terms of the opportunity we have,
Yeah.
right? But it is not very interesting to observe how like the more choice you have, the more depressed you can be.
Absolutely. Here's the thing, what happens
Paradox of choice.
when you have so many options. When you don't have too many options, what happens is you elevate the status of what you do have. So say, for example, like when you got your first car, it was the most exciting experience in the world because you had no alternatives. But when you've driven a few cars, you're like, this is shit, this is good, this, that, and the other. We all do this. So what happens is alternatives reduces satisfaction and it reduces pleasure. So, and it reduces appreciation. All of those things is reduced. And we're living in a world where even when watching a TV show, there's so many alternatives. So it's something we can't escape. We almost have to self-regulate and just fixate on one thing, but it's very difficult.
And who has more choices and options when they step outside? It damn sure ain't you, nigga. So guess who always finds themselves? Let me not be the always police. Guess who's likely to find themselves paralyzed by the paradox of choice? And for such a long time that it does develop into not choosing anything at all, but just insanity of doing the same thing over and over and over again, running into the same partners, coming up with the same fucking outcome, and then you end up taking and needing the medication and becoming depressed because that usually is the outcome. Because you've dove so deep into other things that you assume will fulfill you because you're ignoring this thing. Now it's biting you in the ass as time goes on. Because again, time is not on their side. So, yeah, the paradox of choice definitely can be crippling. And that I agree with. But I mean, you're really limited as a man as far as choices. You can choose to play, but there are men who simply want a family and want to progress their legacy. And yeah, I don't know. I don't think that pool is that big. Statewide, no, you could internationally it could open up for sure.
What do you think the role of a man should be in a relationship?
The role of the man is, I think the role of the man, I know it sounds typical and stuff like that, but leadership is important. And the reason why leadership is important is because if he doesn't lead, she already has to lead when it comes to kids and all these other things. Women are already overburdened in the dynamic of a relationship, men, women, children. And this is not me defending women or saying
Overburdened? But this isn't you defending women though.
but the reality is women are physically more burdened by marriage and kids. Physically, their whole body changes. Child is like attached to them.
It's a mess.
Honestly, their whole vagina is destroyed. Everything is just broken for them after.
We're talking about the first 2 to 3 years. Your responsibility as parents goes far beyond that. And the financial responsibility for you as a man goes well beyond that. So you're not just looking after the child anymore. You're looking after the woman too, and yourself. It's you, yourself, and the child that you have to now protect, provide for. So, yeah, not defending women, but also not actually giving the just due to men at the same time.
Your child. And more so than that, they emotionally can't relax. Every time they're thinking the baby's crying, the baby's hungry, there's this, that, and the other. So the emotional exhaustion in a woman is so draining.
And this is also the first child. A little bit different when the second one comes around.
When she has a husband that she also has to babysit because he doesn't know where to go, he doesn't know what we're doing, he doesn't know how to make decisions. She feels like she's raising everybody, and she starts to disrespect him. Mm-hmm. She gets really disrespectful.
Do you think everyone?
Yeah, that definitely, for sure. So leadership, I agree with her there. You need, but she didn't even. She ain't even big y'all up for the leadership if you do have it. She just gave you reasons why you need it so that you can appease this person that you decided to have a child with. Not because it's healthy for you in very specific ways in your role as a man, but just because you don't want to be disrespected by your partner. Yeah.
No. Know how to make decisions. She feels like she's raising everybody, and she starts to disrespect him. Mm-hmm. She gets really disrespectful.
Do you think everyone should have children?
No.
You think there's some people that
Definitely
won't be available to do it?
I think if you are not nurturing and you are very traumatized, or you're a bit abusive, or your dynamic between your partner is negative, you would be doing a disservice to the child. So I know children are amazing, and they can really revolutionize you, and you can go from being that really broken person, and you can heal through the beauty of having a child. But I do think, when I see women who just get themselves pregnant, through a sperm bank, children need to feel like two people brought them into this world willingly. When they feel like one person didn't want anything to do with them, and their dad just, masturbated into a jar, it does something to them. There's so much curiosity.
That I agree with 100%. And it's interesting she ended there because cryobanks are popping up pretty frequently, especially within the Black community. And it's very predatory. Nobody's even talking about the fact that these banks are popping up near HBCUs and colleges because Black men make up less than 12% of these banks. And it's a commodity, like it's a high in demand thing to have right now is Black sperm, yet all they want to give you is a fucking slice of pizza and a gift card for fucking Chick-fil-A. So, because they know you're a poor college student. Very predatory. And we're talking about women in their 40s plus, 30s plus. Granted, they don't know the process, but if you're doing it, they've done enough research to know. If they're doing enough research to try and figure out who the fuck they're gonna whose sperm they're gonna put into their bodies, I'm pretty sure they've done research on the companies and what the companies are offering their same counterpart in race, what they're offering them for this. And they should also know how small the pool is, and the options that they have. Because there are stories that have already dropped with women having to open 5-6 fucking tabs and like Amazon, like a limited supply on Amazon, have to hurry up and order and schedule this to happen because the shit is leaving the shelves so fast. But nobody's speaking about that though. Typical shit. But like, comment, subscribe. This was very interesting. Take everything you hear, see with a grain of salt, figure out what relationship styles work best for you. Find you a partner that you are genuinely attracted to, you genuinely like and can make connections with. And, figure the shit out from there. But that's the start, man. All right, y'all. See y'all on the next one. Again, like, comment, subscribe. I appreciate y'all. Peace.